Broadcasting from the crypt. Welcome to Velvet Bite Radio.
You've entered Velvet Bite Radio, my friends, where the undead speak and the forgotten bite back. I'm your host, Melissa Dawn Harris, writer, researcher, and devoted wanderer through vampire folklore, history, and film. Each week, we descend into the crypt of culture to uncover the myths, monsters, and meaning behind the vampire's eternal allure. So pour a glass, dim the lights, and let's begin. Well, hello everybody. Let me check you out in the chat. Welcome to Velvet Bite Radio. Hello, Jonaside. It's good to see a few of you in. Hopefully, more of you will stream in as this gets started. Of course, don't forget, before I get into introducing my guest today, the more interactive you get with this stream when it first streams, the more you like and thumbs up and interact with it and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button on the YouTube channel. The better this thing does with the algorithm. I am constantly trying to figure that algorithm out, and it seems to be thwarting me. Sometimes it'll be like, boom, lots of views, and then other times it just doesn't know what it wants to do with me, and maybe I'm just not specific enough. Before I get into everything, remember I was on Chris Matthews' Forbidden Knowledge Network. You can go check that out. It's over at Rumble. He doesn't actually, they've banned his butt from YouTube, so he's not on YouTube, but you can check out the interview I did with him over on Rumble. I put it on the posts. John aside, you should. I'm gonna need a mod. I'm gonna need a booking agent on this show. I swear to God. But really, really exciting news. On the 6th of September, I'm going to be on Walter Bosley and Todd Wood's California show as a guest. It's going to be exciting. So that's Saturday, September 6th. So don't forget about that because it's going to be exciting. And we're going to talk about creepy, weird, probably The Exorcist and mind control and MK Ultra and all that strange stuff. So don't forget to subscribe, thumbs up, put a comment, save this to your playlist, watch later. Everything you do, every interaction helps this show. Helps me. Helps my brain. All right, guys. I don't want to hold off too much longer because we're going to have an exciting show. If you've seen the title, you know the topic is energy vampire, and that can go in many different directions. DeeDee Moonflyer is my guest tonight. She's passionate, well-researched, attuned through the world of the unexplained. She has her own show called the Twilight Tonic Paranormal Podcast, which I encourage you to go listen to and subscribe to, either on iTunes or Spotify. Maybe I'll get my words right here. It offers a unique blend of personal narrative, respectful curiosity, and broad-ranging paranormal inquiry. So whether you're curious about cryptids, shadow work, UFO, metaphysical, paranormal stuff, I think DeeDee's show is going to be a great one for you guys. So let's not put this off too much longer. Let's bring DeeDee in. Welcome to the show, DeeDee. How are you tonight?
Good, Melissa. Thank you so much for having me on.
Hey, I wanted to ask, because I just sort of briefly introduced you, but how did you get into podcasting and the paranormal? What's your story?
Oh my gosh. Well, I was raised in this. My mom raised me with Edgar Casey. She raised me in mediumship, but her journey started when she was pregnant with me in New York State between Malone and St. Clair. Her and another witness, cars behind, pulled over, and she witnessed a UFO sighting, and that changed her whole life. So that set her on this journey of there's more to life than the Catholic Church. So she was curious the whole time. And I can remember we still had to go to church, but she introduced us to everything: automatic writing, mediumship. We had a Ouija board, of course. Tarot cards, runes. She read runes. She was amazing. I mean, we went to Edgar Casey's foundation for my 13th birthday.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really fascinating. I'm glad you had kind of access to that because I
Yeah.
listen to this channel. He's called Morgue, Morgue. And it's a little eclectic, can be dark, but he used to be, a devout Christian when he was younger. And he talks
Mhm.
about what it really says and the hitting books and, what the reality of the universe is. And I don't know, I enjoy listening, getting out of this rigid. It's not that I don't think religion or spiritual and there's a lot of good message in Jesus. It's just a rigid control system that I think lies about a lot of stuff to control us rather than enlighten us,
Yeah, she was really cool because she brought us before in the Catholic Church, before you get confirmed, she took us to a Hindu temple, a Wiccan ceremony, a Buddhist temple, and just a Muslim mosque to introduce us to all religions. I chose Wicca. I've been
Mhm.
Wiccan since I was 13, and I'm Gen X, so it's been a long time. But she's just like, as long as you're a good person, that's all that mattered.
Yeah. I say that here. I live in Utah and I say, well, I don't really care. I'm a good person and don't do mean things to people. So, uh, you know what? You be good to me, I'll be good to you.
Yeah, and she was huge into ufology, of course, and I'm huge into that as well. So
Right. And then you started your podcast. When did you start your podcast?
when I retired, I was a professional dancer for 35 years. So I performed for a very long time. And I had 4 different dance companies. And when my husband got a job in Indiana, he asked me to retire. And for
Right.
35 years, I was ready. I was like,
Right.
it's a
Do you
long
ever
time.
do you ever miss it? Do you ever miss the dance?
I do. I dance in my living room all the time. My animals love it.
Mhm.
So, and I'm happy. I'm actually happier because it it was a great sense of joy, but I was born, I think, a dancer. So I
Right.
didn't really like the other stuff that was involved. I didn't like there's a lot entertainers go through. And I'm very shy, so I'd get sick every time before I'd perform.
Right. You know what? Even before I come and do a live stream on this podcast, I'm like, sometimes I'll come down and everything that I've had outlined in my brain, it just blanks out. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God, what was I gonna say? I'm like, blah, blah, blah. And my husband's like, sometimes you just repeat things. I'm like, no, you're right. I do. It's
Yeah.
because my mind's going blank and I had it all scripted. It's even written in front of me. I totally know. I understand, not from dance, but I understand. It's
Yeah.
like, it's something about people watching you.
Yeah, and I didn't really dance for that. I started dancing because as a kid I was highly dyslexic and it was escape for me.
Right. Wow.
Yeah, it
That
made me
that's such
happy.
that's so constructive though.
Yeah.
That's a constructive escape. That's awesome. So Twilight Tonic Paranormal, I've gone through some of your episodes and listened to them and
Mhm.
you just have so many great guests.
Yeah, I love my guests. Every one of them. It's such a honor when people come on because they're giving their time to me so
Mhm.
I can talk to them, and I think that's pretty amazing that people do that.
Yeah, it is. And it's like diverse topics and I know there's lots of shows out there, but and that's why I never started the vampire or kind of thing sooner because I'm like, well, there's lots of stuff out there. And then I'm like, okay, who cares if you only have 5 listeners or whatever you have? You might have a different take. You might have something different to offer someone. And I just loved your show and how
Oh,
and
thank
you have
you.
this great podcast voice too.
Oh,
It was just really
that
good.
thanks to my
Now,
husband.
wait, your husband, it's because your husband does a lot of the production, right?
He does all of it. He was a musician for years, and it's like we both performed, so we'd say hi bye to each other. So now we do that project together, and we're starting to want to grow it more.
Right.
I enjoy the research and I enjoy interviewing, so
Yeah,
I love that.
that's fantastic. So when I was asking you to come on the show, you
Mhm.
were kind of suggesting energy vampires. And I think probably everybody in the audience might have a different concept of what that is.
Mhm.
What made you want to talk about energy vampires?
Well, being a performer for 30 years and dancing for over 35, I've got some great stories, both spiritual vampires and people vampires. When you say
Mhm.
vampires, people are often thinking, things with fangs that will run in the night. And yeah, that's awesome. But there are people that can drain your energy to a huge point where you get depressed, where you're exhausted around them, where you
Mhm.
actually want to be left alone. And as a performer for years, I ran into several people like that. And then when I started getting more back into my spirituality, I also hit some out of body vampires on the paranormal side that were very
Right.
frightening.
Now, when you excuse me, we'll get into human. Maybe we'll start off with the dead. But when you say out of body, do you mean like spectral, a literal vampire,
No.
or just some kind of energy ghost that just drains the room?
Energy ghost.
Mhm.
These are things like I suffer from sleep paralysis big time ever since I was a little child. And when I first moved to Indiana, particularly, it happened a lot. I would wake up absolutely drained, and I'd have the same dream every night that there'd be a visitor in my room and I couldn't move. And prior to that, all my sleep paralysis were always when I was stressed, and that's just what it was. But there was never a presence like there has been here. So, and it
Mhm.
always happens when I least expect it. It doesn't happen like every night, but it happens when I'm just when you think you're safe and you're comfortable, and
Right.
boom, it happens. And it's always the same presence. And it's just like I wake up so drained. And I actually had to learn to meditate. I actually had to learn to protect myself. And protecting yourself is very important, as you know, especially if you're around the paranormal. You
Yes.
need to protect yourself.
Would you say that you were just too open psychically?
Yeah, I really believe that when you allow yourself to be open, you also have to allow yourself to close it back up. And sometimes we forget to do that in our busy lives. And when I'm open, I can communicate. But then if I don't close that open part of me, they
Mhm.
all come in. And I think that's what truly goes on sometimes. I get tired, I go to bed, and there they are, or there it is. And I don't even have a name for it, but I'm finding if I meditate, and of course, I have my favorite crystals. I'm one of those people, and I put
Mhm.
tourmaline underneath my pillow.
Okay, that's a good tip.
Yeah, and it's hard because people don't realize when you open those doors, you open it to a lot of things. I mean, there's a lot of myths, like we were talking earlier. There's the succubus that gets you when you're
Yes.
sleeping. All over the world, there are things that will take your energy.
Yeah, there's an entire town in Newfoundland in Canada that was apparently the whole town. A portion of it was suffering from incubus, succubus, something like that. The old hag, I think they called it.
Yes. Yeah.
I had one instance where it happened. I was running a podcast years ago with this fellow from England, and we were doing like a Philip experiment. We were testing it out. And we had this little story of this cat that haunted a manor. And he was an artist and he drew a picture of it. We called it Oxenby. So he was going to do this ritual and try to see if we could manifest Oxenby. And I was so busy working, I didn't even do any of it. He was doing it all over in England. And I had some kind of weird thing, like shadow old hag come into my apartment and get on top of me while I was sleeping. And I was able to just get it off and get up and wake up. And I contacted him. I said, I think you better stop the the rituals with that thing. I think this is linked to it because he was seeing weird shadows like a cat, but that's not
Oh,
what came in my house. It was like this weird, it wasn't a gender, it was just an outline, but it was swirly and marble. It was weird. It was
Yeah.
creepy, and it crawled right on top of me, and I got up and I was like, "Okay, I'm not gonna freak out and feed it. I'm gonna just tell him, 'Can you please stop doing that ritual?' Because I think some weird stuff's going on." So I understand
Yeah.
exactly what you're talking about. Total empathy, but I only had, like, that one, like, major I think I've had it before, but that one major one sticks in my head.
And you wake up utterly exhausted.
Yeah.
Like whenever it happens, I wake up exhausted. So, and now I have nightly rituals. I spray that. I have a parrot, so I can't burn sage or incense because they're very sensitive. So I have my
Right.
little rose water and I spray it all through the room, and I picture a really, really beautiful white light around my bed before I
Mhm.
enter. And I ask the goddess and gods for protection, nothing but love and light in the room, and that usually will help. But I tell you, if I forget and I'm wide open, it's
It
it's
shows
a
back up.
yeah, it just. And I think because we open those doors sometimes, and I don't know about you, I'm around this stuff quite a bit, day by day. I'm always doing research. I'm always finding
Mhm.
guests. Each of them have a story, and I think when we learn and we hear things, I think that opens those doors for us.
I had a guest that came on, I won't mention his name, it was a long time ago for an old show. And he had this weird case. It was in Washington State, and it was really extreme, all the video stuff he was putting on. And I got the sense that he was faking a lot of it,
Oh,
and that there was something attached to him, and his wife had left, and it was a
ooh,
crazy scenario. He came on my show, and while I was interviewing him, it felt like somebody suddenly came up and was standing behind me. And, like,
oh,
my hair, yeah, and I never asked him to come back on, and I always felt like there might have been something there in the house, but he was doing some tricky stuff. I just felt like that, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll never have him back on my show again." I'm like, "Smack down, shut it down," but it was a weird, and I always felt like there was domestic abuse there, and it had drummed up something, like he was actually creating something to
right,
cover up
right.
for it and creating all this hysteria, and I could see how you could fake some of the stuff he was doing, and, I was just really uncomfortable with him, and that was it. I was like, took him off my friends list. I was like, "Nope, we're
You're like, no,
we're
no
we're
more.
done." Yeah, and he wrote a book on it. He had a YouTube channel with all this proof and video. It was really crazy, and I was like, "Yeah,
Ooh,
no, I will." It literally, it felt like, yeah, somebody walked up behind me, was standing, and it took all my nerves not to look back and keep making sure that someone was behind me, and it was overwhelming, not
yeah.
fun.
And you have to be
D
careful in places like bars and things like that too, because things will latch onto you.
Oh my god, I never even thought about that.
Yeah, if
Bars.
you're bars are like notorious. Now, necessarily they might not be vampires, but anything that latches on, anything that sees your light and wants your light will take your energy.
Right.
So, and there's a lot of you have alcohol, you have fights in bars, you have all kinds
Right.
of emotion in bars.
Transient people, maybe.
Exactly. People
Mhm.
walking through like, oh, I like that light right there. And you're really open if you've had a couple drinks without realizing it. And they're just come home with you. I had a experience with that with a friend that brought something in, and it drove me crazy because I'd walk past my bedroom and there'd be a hoodie guy. Like, it looked like a young guy with a hoodie next to my bed. And so this is a really funny story because at the time, it was a couple years ago, I would interview this lovely lady. Her name was Melissa, and she was a medium. And one night I was interviewing her, and all my hair and my body stood up. And I'm like, Melissa, I'm going to put you on pause a second. And she goes, is there somebody in the room with you? And I'm like, I think so. And it was my brother that had passed over in 2004, and we were very close. And she goes, I feel like your brother is next to you, but he's protecting you. And I said, well, Melissa, she goes, oh, the dark hoodie guy in your room. I was like, yeah. And it was really weird. She told me to contact his grandma that he was taking some of my energy, but he was watching me sleep.
That's really not
Creepy.
Yeah, that's creepy, for lack of a better
Creepy.
word. Wow.
I was like, oh, he's got to go.
And did you said that a friend brought him in by accident?
Yeah, they went to a bar and they were both drunk and they came in and they left and we all felt it. My husband, my animals would look in the room. I was like, okay, that's enough. You're going. You're going, buddy.
Wow. When you're talking about this, like, because I can be very shut down in public.
Mhm.
Like I feel like I'm trying to put brick walls sometimes. But it makes me think of all the times, even when I was younger, that I'm like, something could have been attaching to me. That's like might explain some of the times I'm really exhausted.
Yeah, attachments can make you really tired. And I've had like a few of them that I've actually had to get rid of, but there's several ways you can get rid of these attachments. And as silly as it sounds, go into a shower and visualize just cutting them off you.
Right.
You're cutting these cords that you don't want on your body. And I'll go in the shower and just stand in there a few minutes and breathe and relax, because water relaxes me. And I pretend like I'm cutting those energy cords off me. Mm-hmm. And then I'll go outside and I will sage, clear everything out, and then I'll go meditate. And that really does help me. And if you're not a meditation type person, just taking that shower and visualizing those cords being cut, getting rid of them. Just get rid of them. You don't want attachments on you. They will drain your energy. They can cause health problems. And we don't need that. They shouldn't be doing that in this.
Well, and there's I always wonder with the house that I'm in now, maybe I might actually do some cleansing, but I had a book. There was this, I actually wrote an article about him on my Substack. He was a Wiccan. He's Wiccan. He was a witch, but he was also a poet and a professor in the University of Victoria in Canada. His name was Robin Skelton, and I have some of his books that are now out of print. And he would detail, because they would go in and clear houses in Victoria, and that's a hot spot in Canada.
Yes, it is.
And he would detail like how some people they'd be in the house, they moved in and they were always sick, and they only felt better when they were out of the house. And I'm thinking, maybe I should go through and clear my house again. Maybe something's here. Yeah, well, anything. And I need to read that book again. It's such a good book. He wrote it with this woman called Jean Kozakari, and they're both passed on since. But I've seen him in documentaries, and a lot of people who are Christian are like, oh, that's pagan. I'm like, look, they're British. That's their base religion from where he comes from. Like, he's actually, I always felt good when I would listen to him talk and read his books and see interviews with him. And I don't know, I just felt like they were using natural earth stuff to kind of clear things out. They weren't like trying to be wicked and sacrifice things or something creepy like that. They were like earth people.
Yeah, it's a very earthy religion. Mm-hmm. And actually it should be very respected. I mean, Ray Buckland, I love his books, of course. And Scott Cunningham, Sybil Leek, just there's so many wonderful books out there. The people you mentioned, just wonderful. And, there's something to be said for cleansing your house. Even if you're Christian, you can cleanse your house.
There's lots of Christians back in the day who would sweep everything out of their house towards the outside and do all these things that they don't realize are rituals to cleanse out your house.
And I remember the priest coming to our house when I was little, and they would do a house blessing. That's the same concept.
Yes, it is.
You're clearing out the old and bringing in the good, positive energy. And I know every time I bring in antique furniture, I cleanse it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like out there saging. My neighbors are like, what is she doing? I live in Indiana. So
I know. I wanted to buy this Victorian picture in an antique store, and my husband's like, no, No, there's something weird on that. No, I'm like, okay, you know what? I respect that. I actually respect that. I won't. I wish because I would have hung it on the wall here, but I was like, okay, I get it. I get it. It is kind of creepy, but I'm kind of creepy sometimes. And I was like, yeah, no, there might be something on that picture. He's right. I'm going to listen to him.
Yeah, it's so funny. I got this at an antique store.
Oh, they're beautiful.
And it was so funny. I walk in, I go, Andrew, go get the sage. He goes, oh no, another antique. I'm like, yeah.
Well, I have an antique. You probably can't see it because the light's not on, but it's a cross. It's a Catholic cross, but it opens up and it's got a blessing thing in it. It's from the 50s. And the priests would use it not for an exorcism, I don't think. I think they would use it if someone was sick. It was a thing. It opens up and it sits on the base cross, and it's a cross, and you do these rites to help for healing to get better. I actually got it off of eBay. It was from the 50s, and it's got the original paper in it that's kind of crumbly and candles, so I don't ever use it. I never cleared it though. Nothing bad has happened yet.
It probably was in a church. You're probably okay.
Yeah, I might be good. I also got an old Catholic Bible that was older too, and it seems to be good. But we'll see. We'll see. I do like antique shopping, but I am aware
Yeah, I
that
love antique.
psychometry and all that stuff. Like, what do you think? Like the guy with the hoodie, why do you think they're allowed to hang on and stay around? Like, what makes them be able to do this vampire stuff?
I think people get lost, and I think it's anytime you have emotions, there's energy. So if you're frightened, it's a large amount of energy coming off of you. You know, when you're scared and your hair all stands up, that's a lot of energy. And they thrive on that energy. And he probably felt very lost. And for some reason, he liked my bedroom. But he only stood in one spot. And it's where I slept. And he always was in there. He was in there for about 3 months. It took me probably about a month and a half to actually get rid of his energy and have him go.
I think the energy of an old roommate that my husband had before I moved here, I think it was here. And I did some clearing stuff, and I had a dream about him and some other guy walking up. They were laying in the spare room, which was a disaster. I had to clean it because of this roommate guy. And he was laying in like a sleeping bag, almost like it was like a coffin, and he got up out of the sleeping bag, and him and this other guy walk out of the basement. Ew. This is my dream, and outside, and I think I might have to. I'm thinking, no, I think it's time to do some more clearing. I think they might be back or something stuck down there. There's something weird, and I think if you have people rooming in your house, even, and they've got mental health problems or anything, do you think they can leave something? I know they can. I've experienced this. I had this weird dream when I first moved here.
Yeah, I think so too. And people just don't realize, even people that are therapists and stuff that work with addicts, they have to also be very careful because attachments love that. They love suck.
Is it because you're kind of bonding with that person in a way through therapy that allows it to attach?
It could be that. It could be, first of all, negativity is often attracted to addicts because they're easy pickings.
Yes. Very vulnerable.
If you work with them or you talk with them and you're a bright light and you have a lot of energy, they're going to want to attach or follow you. So I always suggest to people that work with people like that, make sure you sage yourself once in a while, get rid of that energy, the cords, say a blessing, put that white light around you or some kind of light that comforts you, that will protect you. Wear your talisman, wear crystals in your pockets, do whatever you can that makes you feel protected. If it's a cross, wear it. If it's an oil, wear it. I wear patchouli every day, and I feel like it's a hug of protection for me.
Right.
With a little bit of sandalwood, and I feel really good about that. But then I also carry around some tourmaline in my purse because I work with the public a lot. So I don't want their energy. I don't want it to come home with me.
It's such an exhausting job to work with the public because you never know what you're going to get.
Oh, I know. I work in the service industry, so I know.
I used to. before I moved here, I worked with senior citizens in their homes. I'd have to go in their homes and care for them, and some of them were dying and died while we're caring for them and stuff. And it was a very exhausting job, and some of it was really good experiences, and some of it, like, I actually would say I can't go back there. I would have anxiety thinking about going to their house. It was so bad and so thick. I couldn't take it. But it was a tough job. And when I came here, I thought about applying at the same company and doing it again. And my husband's like, "You're not doing that. You were so exhausted." And I'm like, "Yeah, no, I don't think I want to," because there was times where I was just like, I would leave this house, like, and I'd start crying because the person was so psycho. And I'd phone my company.
Yeah.
I'm like, I said, maybe we should try somebody else because they just don't like me. It was hard. It was hard. And then some of them were wonderful. Like, some of them are really good and you could just deal with it. But there's something weird. There's can be weird things going on when you have people who are vulnerable with medical problems too.
Yes. Yeah. Well, the veil is thinning for them. And, before they transition, you can feel that veil open up.
Mm-hmm.
The energy switches in the room when an older person is ready to pass. So, like,
Yes.
when my mom passed, that veil, like the night before she passed, it felt like a warm blanket in the room just fell on me. And the nurse came in and I looked at her, I said, "Do you feel the warm blanket?" She goes, "That always happens."
Wow.
She goes, "There's the energy switches."
Energy.
And I think that time where it's opened up, where they can go through and walk through their next transition. And we can feel that.
Right.
We know that's going on. So I think it's really tough to work, especially when they're lonely and they don't have much family and they're getting ready to pass on.
Yeah,
It
it's
falls
tough.
on the caretaker.
It was tough, but I found, like, yeah, it's better if they're in their home than a nursing home.
I think so too, absolutely.
That's what my job was to keep them in their home as long as possible.
That's
And
an
that can be
awesome
difficult.
job.
That can be difficult because most of my clients, of course, had dementia and Alzheimer's. So
Oh my.
that's what made it so hard.
Yeah.
And then, of course, some of them were doing palliative care, and some of the energy in the rooms when you're in there with those people, I would know, like, their family would be totally oblivious, and I'd be like, less than 2 days. But I can't say that because I wasn't the doctor or the nurse. And the doctor and the nurse would be telling them, "Oh, it's all good, blah, 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 blah." And I'm like, "No, less than 2 days." And I'd come the next day and my boss would be like, "Yeah, no, they passed away. Like,
Yeah.
literally 6 hours after you left." And I'd be like, "I knew it. You could just feel it."
Yeah, it feels different. The room feels different. Everything feels different around them.
Yep. And when I finished that job and moved here, I had to sleep for like 3 months.
Oh, easily.
Like,
That's a lot.
constantly. I had to sleep
Yeah.
a lot. It was crazy. So the vampire thing, is it like, because we're getting, like, there's the psychic vampire, the ghost vampire, but now we're kind of talking a little bit about vampirism between living human beings.
Oh, yeah.
So there's the spiritual, and then there's the living, because we were talking about customer service. And so there's obviously people who don't know, but there's obviously people who, this is a life gimmick for them, they know.
Absolutely. Yes, these are the people you want to avoid. And these are the people that will make you feel exhausted, question yourself all the time. Or they make you feel bad because you don't spend a lot of time with them, or you don't give enough. They'll tell you that. Those are the people you want to avoid in your life. Most of them are narcissists that you want to avoid. Yeah. And these are the people that sometimes want what you have, and they will latch onto you to figure out how to get it. And then when they do get it, then they drop you. And I think every human being has had that.
Do they ever really have it if they can't create it themselves?
I really don't believe, they think they do. But in actuality, nobody can take what you have.
Yeah, they can create a lot of chaos and mess things up for you in the meantime and confuse you.
Yes, and that's what they do. And we, like anything else spiritually, we can protect ourselves spiritually from them. But sometimes it takes us a while to figure out what just happened. Sometimes it takes years. sometimes you could be married to that person.
Well, yes, yes, and sometimes they can be your parents, and it takes a lifetime to stand up to them.
Yes. A partner.
Yeah,
Business,
exactly.
they
Yeah,
will take and take. And sometimes they don't know they're doing it, but the majority of the time, they know they're doing it because when they're done with you, they will cause more problems
yeah,
and they will enjoy those problems. So they feed upon that energy of your trauma. And then if you're going to give them drama back, they love that drama.
yes.
And the
You kinda
best
got a
thing
gray rocket.
yes. And the best thing you can do, like being a performer for years, I can tell you right now, I ran into like two major people like that.
Mhm.
And once I realized it, before I retired, I had the best 2 years of my life dancing. I met the most wonderful women ever. Had the best time, never laughed so hard in my life as a performer. Truly enjoyed it. And man, if my career all would have been like that, and I would have recognized those people and not gave so much, man, what a great career run. But you don't see it coming. They're so good at hiding it at first because at
Mhm.
first they're needy and they give you compliments and you're their everything. And that's a red
Love
flag right
bomb.
there. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a red flag. I used to have a person buy me stuff all the time to be next to me. And I'd be like, don't buy me stuff.
I had a relative who was like that. She would buy stuff, for family members and keep showing up, and she felt like as if that made it okay for her to now infiltrate your life and be abusive because she gave you all these things.
Yep. And that's
Yeah.
what happened to me. Yeah. You got it. And that happens to everybody. Everybody experiences this that I've ever talked to. You're very lucky if you haven't, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you
That
got great karma then.
my family was full of them, and I was really codependent, and I had to go and deal with that kind of thing because I kept attracting it over and over again where I'm like, "What am I doing? Like, why am I getting with people who are crazy and I have to be the stable one and make things work?" And I realized it all narrowed down to my own mother, and I had to face it.
Oh, it's
Head
very hard to
on.
face those people. It's hard to
That
face those
that's
people.
the hard one. That's a hard one when it's your own mother. That's a hard one to face their behaviors. It's a hard
Oh,
one
that
because
would be
you'll go right back to being a little girl who's helpless when you do it. It's crazy, but had to,
I
and
mean, we
it's
put our
dissipated.
parents way up here.
Mhm.
Our parents are up here
Yeah.
and we don't expect that behavior. And then when you realize it's going on,
I
I think it's
I
heartbreaking.
didn't even know. I didn't even know. I thought that was just. I didn't even know. I wouldn't have even questioned. Is that normal? It never even occurred to me that that's what was happening. I
Yeah.
just thought these other people are jerks. And then when I was able to self-analyze, I was like, "Oh,
Wait a
I'm
minute.
repeating a pattern. I'm trying to get the love of my family with these other people, and I'm choosing almost carbon copies."
Mhm.
Oh, yeah. That's
And then
why
this
I'm like,
light
"Oh,
bulb
we
goes
got
off.
yeah, I'm like, "We gotta stop that." And it was hard because I had to confront people over some really serious, serious behaviors they had and protect my son at the same time. It was tough.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that's very tough. And you can spot those people now. You'll be able to spot those people. Those are the people that if they break a nail, it's drama. Come rescue me. I hurt myself. Where most of us,
Mhm.
if we hurt ourselves, we crawl into a little cave and we want to sleep and be left alone. you know,
Yeah.
like I'm
Well, the
fine by
thing
myself.
when you're dealing with a life you're trying to leave behind with narcissists, I think, or those kind of energy vampires, I felt like my son thinks they're still good people. So like
Sure.
I can't say too much, I can't say too little. And then like my mother would go and triangulate with my ex-husband. It was like I felt like I was constantly doing this teeter-totter to protect my own son. He's a good kid. He's a good guy. He's an adult now. He's up in Canada still. We talk all the time. He's been out here to visit me. But it was like I always felt like, "Oh my god, I'm going to go crazy." And I just had to like just be really super mature and self-aware and calm and not
Yeah.
freak out.
Yeah. And the more drama they hear from your side, the more they feed upon that.
Yeah.
And they love that drama because it feeds that energy. And really, there's hardly any separation from the out-of-body vampires, the paranormal vampires, and then the real people vampires. They love that energy, that negativity. They feed
Yeah.
on that. And
Have
meanwhile,
you
you're being sucked dry.
Yeah, have you noticed? Okay, and I know there's a lot of you who may be into the paranormal or have investigated. I'm not making an accusation, but I'm just saying, have you noticed that's even in paranormal groups? Like, it's not all of them. You'll just get these key figures, and they're stirring stuff up, and the other people are unsuspecting. They don't know, and they go, they make it like an us versus them, and they cause so much trouble. Or I've even had people who I've co-hosted with stalk me and make up stuff and say me and my guests were talking about them and kick
Wow.
me out of podcast groups, just crazy stuff. And I realized they weren't very well. And
Yeah.
I've had all sorts of really strange stuff in the paranormal. I'm like, maybe people are attracted. Oh my God.
I say, my husband described me as a paranormal hermit. Yes, I don't belong to any groups. My whole mission is to find out why these things have been happening throughout my life. That's my true mission, is to find out why.
This is your
And
solo journey.
yeah, it is a very personal journey. And, you know, why my mother did the things she did and the whole nine yards. And joining a group to me wouldn't get my answers. And like you, I belonged to groups before in the performance world, and those never panned out. They wore me out. I don't want to be worn out. I want to grow.
I feel like I just can't get with the whole dynamic of the alpha females and all the stuff and all the ruler. I'm just like, yeah, I'm just gonna do my own podcast and I'll have people on. And that's why I'm like with booking, I'm like, let's make sure who we have on that we're not like. And I did a, like I said, I wasn't gonna do a podcast. I had this sense, and my husband encouraged me to go with these people and do a podcast to get out there, and
Sure.
keep going, because I hadn't
Yeah.
podcasted for a while. And it ended up, being crazy and a disaster. And she attacked friends of mine and made up stuff that they were sexual deviants because they cracked a joke. It went crazy. And my husband's like, yeah, no, that person's not well. And I was just like, okay, well, she's gone. It's time to move on. It was nuts. And I'm just like, okay, now I don't want to get involved in any groups. Like, I just want to do my own thing and see where it
I'm
goes.
completely comfortable, and I completely understand that.
Like
I
when
mean,
someone, if I were to say to somebody, do you want to do this or this? And they said, no, I'm busy. I'd be like, okay, that's okay. But there's some people like the vampires, if you even say, sorry, no, I'm not interested in that, they're like, they're like out to get you. Like, you can't have your own choice.
wow. No, see, that's one thing I'm very clear on with people. When there's drama, I'm gone. And so when a guest comes on, and I've had one or two that want to talk bad about other groups, I blow them off really quickly, because I don't want to be part of that, man. That spells trouble.
And I want to say, we've been in Utah with some amazing paranormal groups too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like super professional, some really great. You go there, you kind of pay your fee to get in, and you do your stuff, and it's just like total professional.
Yeah.
But I think what happens is, and I could be wrong, maybe you get certain people who infiltrate in these groups because they think it's a place where they can control and get power. And most people are good. Like I said, you just get one or two people who are like, and they just know how to stir the pot.
Oh, yes. And it was worse a few years ago, too, because of TV. Everybody wanted to be on TV.
Oh, the competition.
Yeah, and it cracked me up, because when I first started podcasting, people let me know that right away.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have this ambition or that ambition, and I'm like, that's awesome. That's not my ambition. I'm just an interviewee trying to figure things out. So I don't want any part of that. So it's always an interesting thing.
Well, that's the true growth, because learning is never. My higher self voice always says, "Well, Melissa, you know, all the popular stuff is, that's not where your insights are. That's not where you want to be, off away from that. That's where God, that's where all that stuff comes. It's not going to show up in the lights, camera, action, and around popular stuff and logos and branding." It's like I was trained as a graphic designer, and I just, yeah, I didn't like I was just like, I can't do this. It's all so fake. It's like, and competitive, like people cutting each other's throats just to get a logo job, you know?
Yeah, I'm just not into that. I think because for 35 years, it was like herding cats. I don't want to do that again.
Oh, yeah, no, I understand. So, yeah, I can see. Has there ever been any location that you went to, like doing any kind of paranormal insider investigation, that apart from how experiences in your house, that you were like, oh my God, this is it. This, like there was something there that's attaching, or you felt drained, or
Istanbul, Turkey, 2004.
what
My first
happened
time in
there?
Turkey. It was interesting. I performed in Turkey, and I was with my friends, and they had to go back to the States. And I had this beautiful apartment. Everything is old in Istanbul, very old. And I had performed the night before, and this beautiful home overlooking the Bosphorus Sea. And they were engineers to the government. It was just a beautiful job. And they got me to come down there to do this job. I was excited. Well, his wife at the time was supposed to have dinner with me that night. And I was 30, you know, I still was kind of naive and dumb. I thought everybody was nice if they hired you, you know. So he called me. His wife couldn't make it because she had to go to New York. And he had this whole thing, but she wants me to take you out to eat. So I fell into a sleep, and the paralyzation happened. And this, whatever it was, and I keep thinking it must have been a priest, someone from a mosque, bent down and was whispering in my ear, and I couldn't understand it because it wasn't in my language. It was in Turkish. And I couldn't understand everything, and I couldn't catch everything, and I couldn't move. And when I woke up, I was in a total panic. This was like an hour before I had to get ready to go. Every ounce of me was cold, exhausted, and tired, and nauseous. And that was probably a really odd experience. To this day, I wish I could have understood everything he said. And it was 2004, and there were 2 bombings in Turkey. In Istanbul, there was a Jewish temple, and a bombing in Taksim.
Right.
And I was about 5 blocks from the first bombing, and not too far from Taksim. I lived in Galata, which is a historical area. And there's this big, beautiful tower overlooking the Bosphorus. And I don't know if he was warning me to stay away from those areas, especially Taksim, because the first bombing already happened, or was warning me about the guy that was taking me to dinner, or it was just something that walked through that saw me be vulnerable. But I was actually nauseous afterwards.
And was it a real person, or was it a specter?
It was a specter, I believe. It was not a person. No one had the key to get in my apartment. I couldn't move. And it was a really different experience. I've had a lot of experiences, but that one I won't forget. Ever.
And it's so ancient and old there. I mean, in Iraq, it's like the cradle of civilization. I know I just did the show on the movie The Exorcist, and you know where they're shooting those opening sequences, Mosul in Iraq. I mean, old ancient Mesopotamia. Like, I don't think we can conceive that unless you actually have been there.
Oh my gosh, you could walk down the streets in that old city of Istanbul and
Mhm.
you can just feel the energy of the past. And sometimes you can even feel being followed. It's just a very ancient place. And
And they believe in demons there and negative
legit,
entities,
yeah.
obviously. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're very, I mean, everybody's very friendly there, but at night I always felt a presence. And of course it scared me. You can't move. I couldn't speak the language fluently enough to understand what
Mhm.
he was saying.
Right.
So, I called my friends long distance right away. I was like, I had this horrible dream. And I don't think it was a dream. I think I was being held down and there was a message or something was being said to me. Until this day, I want to actually get hypnotized to see if I can catch anything.
Recall.
Yeah, because it was very frightening.
That is. And you're in a foreign country. It's not your own country. You don't that
My friends were
yeah.
gone. I had
Right.
nobody. I was still teaching and performing. So yeah,
Wow.
it was
Did
crazy.
it give you fear of going there? Like, have you ever returned or would you ever go back?
I returned 4 times in total.
Okay.
I did research on the Roman and I did research on the Kurds, their music and dance.
Mhm.
I love their music and dance still. And I have a very special place in my heart for the Kurds with everything they've been through.
Right.
And their music, the whole country felt like I'd been there before. It was so familiar. Like, there's a whole sequence to how I got to Turkey. And one was a dream. And then I met my teacher from that dream. Because I didn't even know the Roman danced. I didn't know they
Right.
were in Turkey until I had that dream in my early 20s. And that's what led me there. So I was being led there,
Right.
but I didn't know why. And so after the 4th time, it was like I was done. I wanted out. I didn't want to be there again. I didn't want to see it again. I was done. And Istanbul is probably one of the most beautiful places I've ever been, but
Mhm.
I have no desire to go back or to be near the Middle
Interesting.
East ever again.
Yeah.
It's like I knew my career was done.
Yeah, I always wanted to go to Egypt, but it's just not. There's just too much unsettling in there, and I wish everyone peace. I wish everyone peace in that area because it's such ancient history. I mean, me and my husband, we want to do Eastern Europe because I'm half Croatian, and then go up into Europe. But I don't know. We might wait a little bit.
I would.
Things feel funny. Is it just me? My husband feels like things are funny, and he doesn't want to travel.
I don't want to and I'm a Sag. We love to travel, man. You say
Yeah.
travel, we're in your car in 5 seconds. I have no desire to fly right now, and I have no desire to go overseas. And I really want to see the British Isles, but I wouldn't get on a plane right now. I want to wait till
I
things clear, the energy
I
clears.
was in England and France in 2012,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to go back right now. Maybe sometime in the future because I'd like to do Northern England rather than just stay in London and Windsor and all those areas. But there's something I dated an Englishman after that, and he was really toxic with a borderline personality disorder, and I had to get rid of him. So it literally killed every Anglophile because it's my other half's Eastern European, the other half's from UK, and
Mhm.
it literally made me have anxiety about England.
I think that
I
would
have
do it for me too.
I have a okay, so my husband's in the room and I just want to read this comment because I have an amazing husband now. I'm really very fortunate and very lucky. And he's saying, "I felt like that in Europe before. I would like to go to Turkey at some point." He's felt those similar things in Europe where it's like something's there. I'm assuming
Something's
that's what
always
he's meaning.
there.
And he's been to Germany. His mom's German, so he's been to Germany and different countries in Europe and France, I believe, because we kind of wanted to do like Italy, Croatia, Romania, and Czech like one day. But Turkey would be good.
It's beautiful. It's mysterious. It's everything you can imagine. Um, but it's got its place in history that you can feel, definitely. And you never know what you're going to run into around the corner. It's so ancient, and you could just
So
feel it beneath your feet.
we need to get lots of protective light.
Get a hold of me. I'll send you some tourmaline.
Like a suitcase full of it.
Some crystals for protection.
It's there's people out there who are going to say, oh, all this stuff is just silly, and you can't protect yourself with crystals and tourmaline, and things happen for a
Sure.
reason, and logic and logic and logic. But I used to be like that when I was younger, because even though I was raised the similar idea with people who believed in the paranormal. I got married, and I was like, no, that stuff's carved, I have to be reality. But I'm like, was there like, for me, I don't know. I think it was just I had to fall on my ass a whole bunch of times and ignore my intuition and everything before I realized that, no, you need to go back to a balance with that stuff. Did you ever
Yeah.
have a time where you shut it out and was like, oh, this is ridiculous? And
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
I was so busy dancing, so busy having dance companies, working at night. I worked in restaurants at night, and I was a kitchen rat, sous chef, everything you can imagine. I cooked, baked, did everything at night, had dance companies, performed 3 days on the weekend, late night, went back to work. Everything, I just turned everything off for a short time. When I retired, it was like something came and hit me up the side of the head. Like, oh no, you're going to listen, and you have to listen now. We're not done with you. And I came back to it out of necessity because I felt so off balance, and I would see things walk through the living room. I was like, okay, it's time to go back to my spiritual side. It's time to realize in my life, these things are real. And if people want to think they're nonsense, they can. I know what I see. I know what I feel. And it's so important to recognize in yourself what you need to do. And I'm a very reasonable person, I think. I wake up every day. I go to work. I have to use my logic. But in my own home is my spiritual, sacred space. And I need to work on stuff. And if it means going out and getting myself a crystal just so I can meditate and ground myself, there's no difference than going to the church down the street and saying a few prayers. So
It's true.
That's how I feel.
That's fantastic, because I have been in that mode where I'm like, go get her. And it's not really my personality. I don't think it ever was, but I'm just doing it because I'm, trying to achieve something or make money, or I have to wear a head. At one time I was single mom, co-parenting, but still I had to call all the bills on my end after my divorce. And so sometimes there's nothing you can do. It's just like that stuff gets put on the side because you're working a 70-hour week this week or whatever it is.
Right? Yeah.
I don't have time to meditate. I'm going to fall asleep. I, just worked with seniors for 12 hours or whatever it is.
And that's when those things like to come in, because you're open and you're exhausted.
That's what, is there anything like, okay, because I know there's got to be people out there listening to this who are like working their butt off, or maybe they've lost their job and they're depressed and things are attaching onto them. It's like, say they don't have, is there things you can do other than tourmaline? Like for, if you're working and you're exhausted and you don't have time to meditate, and like, is there like, I don't know. Do you have any other little mini techniques that people could do, maybe even while they're at work, like stretches, or is there anything like that? I don't know,
First of all, I always recommend any kind of exercise because it gets that energy in your body moving. I danced for so many years that sometimes I just come in my living room and I'll move. I dance to something I really like. I get that energy flowing. But the crystals I use a lot I love onyx. I love black tourmaline. I like selenite. I love citrine. Anything that makes you feel safe. And onyx is a good one. If you don't like black tourmaline, raw black tourmaline is my favorite. But selenite I put in my windows. Every window has selenite in it with a little piece of tourmaline. Smoky quartz. I love smoky quartz. Amethyst is a really good one to put that positive energy back into your home. And rose quartz, of course, women tend to love rose quartz because it really brings love into a room and centers it. The smell of roses, especially for women, a sense of love. And if you're depressed, roses will really help bring that love back into your room.
That's
Those are the
some
things
good
I use.
advice.
Yeah.
So, just to tie it up, do you think that an actual energy vampire can turn into a type of possession of a person where if they don't catch it and they don't realize that's what it is, that they can actually become possessed by some kind of energy, like taken over in the spiritual sense? I mean, maybe the physical sense, someone could manipulate you, but I'm talking about the spiritual sense here.
I think that's possible to a huge extent because you hear people that do terrible things that said something was telling them to do it. And some people could say that's mental illness, but I think sometimes too, there's a huge paranormal side to that. Maybe there is something whispering in their ear. They were depressed and there was an attachment. I'm not saying that can't happen.
Right.
I'm not sure if it would happen, but I know they can make you ill, and I know they can make you extremely depressed, and they thrive on that. So why couldn't they influence you or get into your body?
Right. Yeah. Because I know when I dated that guy, there's some people, they call it personality disorder, and it literally felt like he was one person 1 minute and Jekyll and Hyde and like possessed. So I was always like, who are you? Like there's no stable person. It was like this person and then switch.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, so I'm thinking, well, maybe they're actually, it can start out feeling like somebody who's an energy vampire or something is sucking your energy, and it can turn into full-blown snap, different person.
And we just don't know what's out there. I think the truth is weirder than we could possibly imagine.
That's for sure. I'm starting to realize more and more I just don't know the truth. I'm discovering more knowledge, but I don't know every answer, which is why we have our shows, right?
Yes, we have so much to learn. That's the amazing part.
I can't believe I ever get stumped. Sometimes I get stumped and my brain goes blank. What am I going to do this week? And I'm like, I can't believe you're asking that. Your mind's limited right now. There's lots of stuff to talk about. Like, all I have to do is start digging. Like, my original show was supposed to be, it's just the mind virus. And it turned into all this evidence I gathered of how there was CIA mind control in a horror movie.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I was like, now I can never watch movies the same again after all my research on MK Ultra for the past year and a half or 2 years and serial killers and movies. I was like, oh my God, I've been manipulated by the government and I didn't even know it.
Well, I found out never fall asleep to certain podcasts because you'll dream what they're talking about.
Oh yeah. Oh,
I
bet.
Don't do that.
Don't do that one. All right. Do you have any? I'm gonna tie it up here for you so you can get on going because it's getting late where you are. Do you have any really great episodes coming up, or dream guests coming up, or any topics that you want to cover?
Oh my gosh, I have so many guests coming, and you asked me my mind. I'm like you right now. I'm like, oh my gosh, oh my goodness. Angela's coming on, Wonderful Witch. You might be fascinated. I'll send you the information, and it's also on my Facebook page and my Instagram page. I have several mediums coming on, my favorite, and right now I'm looking for more cryptid people. I love Bigfoot people. They are so down to earth.
I was just on Michigan Bigfoot Rob's channel. He was great. That was fun.
Yeah, they're great. I love all of them. They're just down to earth. And of course, let's see, who else do I have coming? Oh, I have an astrologer coming on.
Ooh.
Who does your astrology, but she can tell you the best places where you can live.
You're gonna have to tell me when that show comes on.
Yeah,
because I'm like, maybe I should go here. Maybe we should move here. Maybe we should do this.
I feel so unprepared when you ask me that. I have all these great people coming out. I don't know their names.
Seriously, I think it's just because I'm 48 and I come on here and I've got it all, and then I start and I look into the screen and I'm like, "Hi, everybody. I'm crazy and my hormones are nuts. So I don't know. Let's go with it."
We're just like,
Fortunately, once I start talking, sometimes some of it comes back, and then I will leave as a guest a podcast, and then I'll remember, I forgot to mention this guy was born here, and I forgot to say this, and I forgot to say this, and remember that word you can think of? It's this word.
Oh yeah,
I do that all the time. Yeah. All right. Well, everybody. DeeDee's show is on all of the platforms. It's on Apple, it's on Spotify and iHeart and all that stuff. Type in Twilight Tonic Paranormal Podcast. I put the Apple one there for you. It's a long one, but I would just type it in on the search bar. You'll get DeeDee's amazing podcast. So I want to thank you for coming on the show, DeeDee.
Thanks, Melissa. It's good seeing you, hon.
Really it was great to see you. I'm going to pop you out. You don't have to hang around if you don't want to. I'm just going to close off the show, but thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, and I'll email you.
Excellent. Take care. All right, guys. So that was the show on energy vampires. I wanted to keep it around the hour. We're all kind of getting a little late here and tired, and I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you guys take that as a lesson, no matter what religion you are, where you're coming from, that things can attach to you, living, dead. They can cause illness in your life. And so I'm not telling any of you not to go to the doctor and not to seek medical attention. I'm just telling you to take this into consideration alongside of all your other tools in your cabinet that you could have something attached to. You could have a family dynamic that's draining you and giving you anxiety. You could have a spirit. You could have been incidentally in a building and something was attracted to you and it decided to attach onto you, and you could just be very sensitive and open and vulnerable. But I hope you got a lot out of this show, and I will be seeing you guys on Tuesday. I think we're going to be doing an episode of Vampires in the Simulation. I might be analyzing some people on YouTube just for fun, and then next Thursday, I haven't planned that show yet, but as soon as I do know what's going on, I'll let you know on YouTube. Go under the posts on YouTube, Melissa Dawn Harris channel, and check out the information. I update all the time there. And go to the website, melissadawnharris.com. That is melissadawnharris.com. And you can also subscribe to the Substack, which is melissadawnharris.substack.com. I think I'm going to put another of my old articles up there for free for everybody. I thank you so much for tuning in. And I will see you guys on Tuesday. Cheers.
Broadcasting from the crypt. Welcome to Velvet Bite Radio.
You've entered Velvet Bite Radio, my friends, where the undead speak and the forgotten